spent 3 years being best friends with a woman online, and then I accidentally discovered she was my husband's first wife, and neither of them ever said a word. I found out on a Tuesday because of a photograph. Lisa had posted a throwback on her Instagram. Nothing unusual, she posted constantly. A decade-old photo, some rooftop summer light, her laughing at whoever was behind the camera. I recognized the rooftop. It was the apartment my husband lived in before we met. I had seen pictures of it, heard stories about it, knew that view the way you know the details of someone's life before you entered it. I told myself it was a coincidence. Rooftops look alike. I was seeing things. Then I looked at the edge of the photo. A hand on the railing. A watch I recognized immediately because my husband wore it on our first date and told me it had been a gift from someone he didn't mention again. I put my phone face down and stood in my kitchen and breathed. Lisa and I had met in an online writing group 3 years earlier. Funny, sharp, emotionally generous in the way very few people actually are. We had never met in person, but we talked every single day. Voice messages, long emails, the kind of friendship that becomes load-bearing before you notice. She knew things about my marriage I had never told anyone else. 3 years. Every single day. I went through her Instagram for 2 hours that night while my husband watched television in the next room. 4 years back, methodical. The way panic organizes itself into something colder. I found a single post, no photo, just a line. Sometimes you have to let a whole life go to find out who you actually are. Posted 11 months before she messaged me for the first time. I searched both their names together. 4 minutes. Marriage record. 3 years married. Divorced 8 months before she and I first connected. I sat with that timeline until it fully landed. The divorce, then the writing group, then 3 years of daily conversation about my life, my marriage, my husband. And she had known exactly who he was every single day. I called her the next morning, same as always. Let her talk, listened for the lie underneath it. She sounded exactly like she always had. Warm, present, real. She said I didn't sound fine. I said I was tired. She said get some rest. She said I love you the way she always did. I hung up and never spoke to her again. I put the marriage record on the kitchen table that evening and sat across from my husband and waited. He went completely still. Then he said her name, quietly, like something escaping. He said he had no idea we were friends. That when I first mentioned her name, months into our friendship, something dropped in his stomach. But he convinced himself it was a different person. Because the alternative was too complicated to navigate. I asked him when exactly he decided that. He didn't answer. I emailed Lisa weeks later. No anger, just one question. Did you know who I was when you first messaged me? She replied the same day. One line. I didn't know at first. By the time I did, I didn't know how to lose you. I have read that line more times than I can count. Some days it almost makes sense. Some days it makes everything worse. My husband and I are still together. The lie he told was omission and cowardice, not cruelty. And I had to decide what I could live with. What I couldn't live with was Lisa. Not because I stopped caring, because I didn't. And that was exactly the problem. Some wounds you have to walk away from before they become permanent. I lost my best friend and almost lost my marriage on the same Tuesday because of a photograph and a watch I recognized. I think about her more than I'd like to admit. I hope she found what she was looking for. I just wish it hadn't been inside my life.